Hello, awesome people. I hope you guys are having just an absolutely amazing day today. One of the best you've ever had in your entire life. For you folks, so today I thought it would be fun for me to knock out. On Mondays, I do reviews of older RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons, or in this case, BECMI, from the early eras, as well as some older war games like Battletech, that sort of thing. So last week, I did B1s rather, in Search of the Unknown Farm 78 by White Car. They got that stuff set off. And so I thought today I would do the sequel, B2, for you folks. This is 1979's Keep on the Borderlands by Gary Gygax. I probably did like maybe 15 or 20 of these recently, so you can check those out if you like it. This cover art here is by Jum Rostof, and the interior art is by Erol Otus. So here's my quick BECMI history and what it stands for. So I started off in fifth grade with one of my peers named Joshua. We were classed together. We would finish up. We're both gifted, so we would often finish up our stuff early, and then the teacher would let us do whatever we wanted to. So we played Dungeons & Dragons, and I started off playing. I was the player, and he was the dungeon master that we used in Search of Adventure, the B2 3-9 collection, and that sort of a thing. So we used that lots. So BECMI was my first introduction into Dungeons & Dragons. I loved that lots. And then this is a basic level. So the B in BECMI stands for basic, which started getting sold in 78 as an introduction to this stuff. It's more about dungeon delving, learning how to play the game, and that sort of thing. And then the next one, the E, stands for expert. Those modules start with X's, like X1, which we've done reviews of, or X2 too. So, and if you like that stuff, you can check those out too. It's all about exploration, learning things. Takes you up from third level all the way up to higher levels and such, so you're pretty competent. And then the C stands for companion. Those modules begin with the letters CM. I've done a review of CM1, Test of the Warlords by Deathless Mouse. But yeah, it's all about, building up your, becoming like a king or a duke under a king, that sort of a thing, and owning land and moving forward. And then also running battles as a general or an admiral. So you've now leveled up to the point that you are now put in places of power. Makes sense? And then the M takes you all the way up to level 36, and that's all about search for mortality, going to other planes of existence to push yourselves, that sort of thing. And then the I stands for immortality, where you're kind of like demigods running the scenes and that sort of thing. All right, so those are basically the key concepts, and that what BECMI stands for. All right, so this even though it's set in BECMI just like the first one, it's not set it's in Greyhawk or My Star initially, although later when the Gazetteers were published, this would get moved to Kamikos as well. It's also there in my B2 through B9 adventure that was published later. So I played through it when it was in actually My Star Property Threshold. Right, so this was to be in the basic set, replacing the Mad Success of Mike Garza's B1 in Search of the Unknown, which was in the basic set, because it got 5% of the royalties, and the base set was sold for a higher amount. It would make more than the basic levels would typically. And then after the death of James Dallas Egbert III in 79, the sales went up massively. And such, and he made a bank. And Gary Gygax was like, I want to get some of that money too. So he actually wrote this as a replacement for that, which feels a little off when you think about it. And so for the owner saying, I want to get some, I don't want my people to get that kind of money on royalties. If I can get it instead, right? Anyway, so this is for levels 1 through 3. This is also set up for learning and new folks to the game too, but it's much harder than the previous one, and that sort of thing. This has tips and such here. It's 32 pages long, like the previous one was too. So this was voted the 7th best adventure of all time for the game's 30th anniversary. You explore the caves of chaos with the aforementioned keep sort of as your background. You can go back there to get heal, to spend the gold for better supplies, reload, to hire henchmen and hire links of hopefully. Use that money wisely. There are a few plot twists which I don't spoil here, which are pretty good too. You can feel the influence of the first one too, of In Search of the Unknown by Night Card. So I played this again as a player back in the 80s. Loved it then too. But I have not run this as a Dungeon Master, just a heads up. Alrighty. This is a beloved classic, like we mentioned before. And it's a good card on board too, although I think that the onboarding of B1 was a little better for Dungeon Masters, since Dungeon Masters had tons of characters from the player characters options. There's huge numbers of first level characters, as well as you could make your own, set your own characters and creatures to fight and treasures and that sort of thing in some of the places. So it had that sort of a build-in to get you ready for those reasons. But it's still a classic, and this is a 10 out of 10 for my minds. Alright, so that is my thoughts quickly on the Keep on the Borderlands B2 from 79 in BECMI, which is later set in my star, but not initially, by Gary Gygax. Alright, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 for you folks. Alrighty, so there you are. So what did you think about it? I love to hear more of your thoughts in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are. Right, I'd be happy to talk about it further. Alrighty, and so there you are. Have you run it? Have you run it as a DM? Have you played it as a player like me? What did you think about it? Alright, so there you are. But let me know what your thoughts are. Now, again, like I mentioned before, I do a lot of these reviews of these older things on this Monday that I dedicate to this. So check it out too, and watch those, and also let your friends know about that too if they think they'd like it too. I've recently done the G1 through Q1 mega series of 7 things that wasn't voted number 1 series. So like this, as well as things like the Assassin's Knot and stuff. So those things are out there too. No lots. So there. Alrighty, and then on Wednesday I do video game reviews of older video games. I just recently knocked out the Don't Starve. Don't Starve together. Since in April it was the 12th anniversary, and for the first one, and then I also did the next one as a subsequent to it. I'll do a lot of older video games reviews there too. On Friday I do top 10s. I just did my top 10 comics. I've recently done my top 10 board games. I did my top 10 musical albums and artists too. Next week will be my top 10 miniseries from comics. On Saturday, I do my reviews of what I call Serial Saturday, of the forgotten genre of the storytelling from the early eras of movies and TVs, of serials that we sort of forgot about today, but which really sold a lot of seats. I did the previous 2 Tarzan serials. The first one from 35 called The New Adventures of Tarzan, and then the first one and the second one was from 1929, so the silent era of Tarzan the Tiger. And then also, I did some stuff out there like, I just watched the 1952 based on the Blackwell comic in DC, Black Hawk comic, sorry. So if you like that, you can check it out too. And so it was longer, about 4 hours long, but I watched it on the Saturday yesterday. That'll be coming up too. I also did the first 2 seasons of Doctor Who, 2 pretty recently, so I guess I'll check it out too. And then the rest of the week, I do 3 reviews a week of older books or novellas, novels, short stories, and that sort of thing, even poems. So of science fiction, fantasy, and horror that this channel covers. So there you go. So if you like those things and want to find out some more about it, then definitely check out the channel. Do all the YouTube stuff, like hit the subscribe button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky. Share, let your friends know, hit the like button too. But basically share and watch. There. And there you are. All right. So I just wanted to, as a reminder, as you can tell from all these older things, the channel, that's also where the passion of the show, and where its name comes from, the worst thing about new books. That's a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? And this definitely is older stuff we might have forgot about in our passion to be the new stuff, right? So also, it's also where my context strength comes from too. Gary Gygax in his appendix, for example, in the first edition of Dungeons and Dragons, Dungeons and Dragons, right? It lists all the things that you can do, all the influences. And I like going back and reading the influences that really strengthens my appreciation for what I'm reading or watching or playing in this case, right? Alrighty, so there you are. And there you are. I want to thank you so very, very much just for taking, some time out of your day and, investing it and watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives. And we're pulled in so many different directions, right? So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling. And I appreciate it so very, very, very much. So thanks again and have an amazing day.